Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I'm Lisa, and it's eclipse season. I just did a reading for the solar eclipse, which kicks off eclipse season. I think it's something called You May Be a Lucky Star. I'm going to post a link to it up here. Okay, so then when I did a split on this, I get Death and we get the King of Pentacles. So that's interesting. Obviously there's something that's changing. Perhaps regarding this King of Pentacles, this is someone who's financially stable, on a solid foundation. This is like a provider. I'm gonna actually pull, let's see what we got underneath. Okay, so there's a turning point happening for this King of Pentacles, perhaps regarding a soulmate connection from the past. That might be what this death change is about. But it seems like he's kind of taking a step back and reflecting about this change. And there's a cup of love being offered. Then there's also this situation of lack and abandonment, which was a major theme in the Lucky Star reading, which for the eclipse, it was like someone was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, because this is somebody was like having an opportunity that was helping them to like move on from this situation, which is like totally the story here. Coming into balance, truth, opportunity underneath this lack. So that's kind of what this change is maybe about. It's just like kind of taking a step back and maybe processing, because it looks like this person is like getting all the love now after having been left out in the cold and like maybe like pooped all over, you know? And perhaps it's this King of Pentacles, you know? But something profound is changing for this person. So I'm going to keep pulling cards and see what we get. This is a very exciting eclipse season. But for sure things are changing. So that's really good and exciting. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so we just had 2 cards fall out. We got Bright Heart Light and we got Angelic Assistance. So divine guidance and loving support and open connections. So this came out in a reading called Into the Great Wide Open that was right before the eclipse. And it was sort of like how someone was sort of just like opening up to the world and starting this whole new beginning. But like there's guidance with this shift. Oh my gosh. And at the bottom of the deck, we have Idyllic Times, the Garden and Paradise. So it's like, it's kind of like the Lucky Star thing. It's like this person has gotten pooped on, and like all of a sudden, like there's this karma where all of a sudden, like, it's like things are turning around and like, but like in a really good way. This is a really like idyllic time when it's almost like their good karma is coming back. Good karma is coming back. Okay, so when I split the Mystical Shaman deck, I got the Arrow and I got the Jaguar. So this is someone who's like overcoming sort of like their shadow element. They've become the master of their emotion. And so they're the master of the dark and the light side. You know, they've sort of integrated their dark and their light. And so, and this has empowered them so that this Jaguar can explore the deepest recesses of the Amazon and be in command of their energy, you know. That's how they're fully empowered. And we have the Arrow. So this is someone who's in alignment with all that is. And so when someone is in alignment with all that is, when they release their arrow into the universe, it's going to hit its mark. So it's like, let me pull this down and see what. Yeah, so someone, this is like, speaks to recurring cycles in life. So it's just sort of like, you might have these patterns that repeat, and like you might attract the same kind of situation over and over and over until you sort of like integrate the dark and the light and become the master of your emotions. At that point, you change the past and the future, like you heal the cycle, the recurring cycle, so that you become a master of time, because you change the past, you change your relationship to the past, while you also change the future. You change your destiny, because you've kind of like sort of snapped out of that pattern, like you healed a generational curse. That's like a reading from the past. So it's really interesting, but this is a really, really, really good reading. Okay, I'm going to go to the Light Seers Tarot, and I'm going to pull some cards and see what we get here. Okay, this eclipse season is looking good. Okay, so at the bottom we have the Eight of Swords. So this is like fear and anxiety. Like this is at the bottom of the deck. So there's some sort of situationship at the bottom of the deck. However, like all the other cards kind of speak to sort of like overcoming that. Like this person is like operating from a heart-centered place. They're imbalanced. Their emotions are imbalanced. They're getting good news, and they're making a bold move, and operating from like a solid foundation. It's interesting is because we have this King and Queen of Pentacles, which is a divine matched pair. But also there's been a lot of readings about this, the Queen of Pentacles, in referring to sort of like Gaia and like the divine feminine energy, like in the motherland, and like the empowerment of this divine feminine energy has been like a recurring theme that's been coming up. So this is all super interesting, but it's almost just like it's like someone's like kind of being released to like make their way in the world, and they're like maybe being released from being held back, or from being oppressed, or from doubting themselves, because this is sort of like the shadow element that's being healed, this fear, you know. It's like they're overcoming this, and they're stepping forward into the world and into a whole new experience from what they've experienced in the past. It's really, 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 really good. Oh my gosh. I'm going to oh my gosh. Okay, so we have the Warrior of Pentacles. This is like moving forward, like slow and steady wins the race, like building on a solid foundation. But we have the Ace of Cups. So, you know, this is another cup of love coming to this person who's really kind of, you know, like I was saying, like been through the ringer, but it's like they're elevating to this Empress status, which that was a reading that just happened, elevating to this Empress status. So it's like somebody is like overcoming this. And this Nine of Wands is underneath this fear and anxiety too. It's like this person has really, they've really gone through it, you know. They've had to heal this fear, this dark energy, this shadow element. But this is kind of speaking to the element where this person it's like they finally reach sort of mastery of that, and then what happens right after that. And it's just like, you know, like they've had this experience of being beaten down, oppressed, unappreciated, and suddenly it's like they snap their fingers and their whole experience in life completely shifts to another channel. And it's just like, it's almost like you don't even know. It's like you don't even know where you are, or how to be, or, you know, you're just kind of trying to get your footing, because it's like you're not even on the same planet anymore. You're just like, what's going on here? And so it's like you have to take a moment, because there was like this hangman in the beginning. Like, you have to take a moment to sort of like process what's happening, because it's so good that like you don't really have any reference. You don't really have any reference points for it. Wow. Okay. All right. So we got surrender at the bottom. This has been coming up a lot. We got power, which this has come up a lot too in the last 2 readings before this. The Lucky Star reading, and then the one before it as well, which I think I've linked both of them. We've got nourishment, so like healing, and also for me this is super meaningful because the cheese. I think you know that I'm a cheese maker. But then we also have this fear. So like, I think this is these cards are sort of like not so much a warning, but just like, I think something to be aware of, because this person has this golden energy, you know, but they've been so sort of like abused that they have all these points of triggering, you know, and they've sort of like been in this sort of self-protective golden bubble, you know, where if they've like protected themselves from this experience that they've had, you know. And so I think the message to have awareness about is like, don't let this hold you back, this experience, you know, that you've had in the past. Like, don't let it hold you back from being open and connecting, because there is another experience out there. But it's like, if you don't even like give the world a chance, like you're gonna sort of like attract out of fear this same experience again. And so I think really overall this whole message is that there's a completely new experience that's available, but you have to become the master of this energy. It's unfortunate that this experience has happened, but in order to have a different experience, there has to be mastery over this energy, mastery over these triggers, and awareness, so that you don't let this fear hijack the potential of greatness that's all around this reading. So eclipse season is an opportunity to walk through sort of like a portal and change into a new situation. So you definitely want to take this opportunity and really be aware about this, because you want to take advantage of this moment to move through, push through into a different experience. So good luck, and definitely focus on healing yourself, letting go when these feelings arise, and just like seizing the reins, taking control of your emotional energy and mastering that, because your arrow is going to hit the mark. Keep pushing through, because the outcome is beautiful. You have Angelic protection around you. Stay open and move forward from your heart.